I'm Liz Kuchke, or Mrs. Cookie as my kids call me, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about books with Latinx characters, celebrating Latinx culture, or with Latinx authors that you can use for Hispanic Heritage Month. Now, I looked into what term is appropriate at this point, and at the point of recording in fall of 2020, I have seen both terms used interchangeably, Hispanic Heritage Month and Latinx Heritage Month. So I will probably fluctuate between the two. So one more caveat before we get fully into this is that these books and Hispanic music from Latinx cultures should be used at all times of year, not just from September 15th to October 15th. But this is a fun time to talk about it all and put an extra emphasis on it. So let's start with our younger kids books, and then we'll go all the way up to our 5th grade level. So first up, we have Los Puellitos, and I bet many of you know the song, Los pollitos dicen pío, 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 cuando tienen hambre y cuando tienen frío. So this is a bilingual version of that with 2 verses, and what's really cool is that it's a flip-flap book too, so the kids can actually flip up different things on each page. Oh my goodness, how adorable. And yes, it has it in both languages on each page, so each phrase is there. Okay, let's see. Oh, here we go. Chicky sleeps so yummy, snuggled up with mommy. And then it says, bajo sus dos alas, acurrucaditos. And forgive me if my Spanish is a little off. I do try really hard, but I am not a native Spanish speaker. So again, the kids adore this. I'd recommend it for kinder and first. And it's just a beautiful song to have the kids doing. If you have any chick puppets, good time to bring those out too. So yeah, Los Pollitos by Susie Jaramillo. Next, we have Maria Had a Little Llama. So as you might be able to tell, this is a Peruvian take on Mary Had a Little Lamb, and it is by Angela Dominguez. And it is another bilingual book, so every page has it both in English and Spanish. And what's really great is a lot of Latinx children's literature that you see used in music classrooms is from Mexico. But this one is from Peru, so celebrating another Hispanic country. And it does a pretty good job of putting in little tidbits about the culture and the illustrations. So yes, it goes to the tune of Mary Had a Little Lamb. And see, you can even see some of the Peruvian instruments, so you could talk about those a bit. The last page is my favorite because it has a ton of Peruvian instruments. And if you are at home teaching just through distance learning, you could have a little activity that you connect with it with they can make their own zampoñas or the Peruvian pan flute. So I will link an activity for that by Daria, the world music gal. She's awesome. So I'll link that below. But Maria Had a Little. Next up, we have Cuckoo. And Cuckoo is by Lois Ehlert, and it is a Mexican folktale with some really cool illustrations. Very Lois Ehlert. She also did Thump Thump Rat-a-tat-tat, I believe, for those of you who use that for Loud and Quiet. So this story would also be a really good social emotional learning tie-in. So the cuckoo just is so caught up in her own beauty that she doesn't really, associate much with everybody else or help anyone. And she ends up needing to save the day. And spoiler alert, she kind of loses some of her beauty, but everybody loves her so much more for being such a beautiful soul. And this is also great because on each page I try to incorporate the cuckoo so that they're getting in a so me. So it's really great for practicing so me, or for going over high low. And so I use this one again with kinder or first. And yes, it is also bilingual. So every page has both options. And I should say that if you're using bilingual books, one cool thing you can do, especially if you are not super comfortable with reading in Spanish, is that if there are students in your class who are comfortable, they can volunteer to come up and read a page or so. Or you could even have other grown-ups at your school who are native Spanish speakers. You could record them reading a page, and the kids would love it to just suddenly see, one of their cafeteria workers or their, kindergarten teacher, and now they're in first grade, reading in Spanish for them. So that is Cuckoo. This next book is Santiago the Dreamer in Land Among the Stars. And I believe it's a series, so that is important to say, in Land Among the Stars by Ricky Martin. Yeah. He is not living La Vida Loca anymore, guys. So, and this is illustrated by Patricia Castelao. And this is another great social emotional piece talking about how you can have dreams and sometimes it doesn't work out the first time. And you just have to keep working on it. He has stage fright when he wants to audition for the school play, and so he doesn't get the part. But his dad tells him to never stop dreaming, and so he thinks about all of his many dreams. So here, oh, and he thinks about all his many dreams and decides, yeah, I'm going to keep practicing. So he practices as if he got the part, and I think you will like the very cute ending. But this is a great way to talk about, it's okay to be nervous sometimes, and if you want something and it doesn't happen at first, that's completely normal, and how we work hard for anything that's really worth it. So that is the adorable story by Ricky Martin, Santiago the Dreamer in Land Among the Stars. Now we have The Best Mariachi in the World by J.D. Smith and illustrated by Danny Jones. And this is another bilingual book. And this is great for introducing the kids, obviously, to mariachi. So all the different instruments in the mariachi band, and just what a big part it plays in Mexican culture. But it also has another great social emotional aspect, because this little boy feels like he just doesn't fit in. Gustavo, that's his name. And everyone in his family can play an instrument in the mariachi band, but not him. And so he feels like he doesn't fit in. And in the end, he finds his place and learns that everybody has something special to contribute. And along the way, you also get lots of phrases and Spanish words for instruments, different terminology that you can incorporate with the kids. So this is a really good one. I would say, K2, but I would use this more with first or second, just to, really delve deep into those instruments and mariachi. There we go. So now we're getting more into the upper grades. I would say these next books are more 3rd through 5th. Here we have Celia Cruz, Queen of Salsa. And this one is by Veronica Chambers and illustrated by Julie Marin. And this is one that I actually have a sub-resource for in my store, so I'll link it below in case you want to take another look. But Celia Cruz is Cuban, and so the story does start in Cuba, and there are gorgeous illustrations, and it talks about how at first she was shy, and then she gets more confident as a singer, and grown-ups really inspire her along the way to keep going, and just goes through her path to stardom and her journey as an immigrant. So this is an important point of view for your students to see what it is like to be an immigrant, or for your immigrant students to be able to identify with a character in one of your books. So Celia Cruz, Queen of Salsa, gorgeous, gorgeous book. Next we have Tiro Puente, Mambo King by Monica Brown and illustrated by Rafael Lopez. And this is another bilingual book, so it even says here Rey del Mambo from Mambo King. And this is really good for using for Titica. So yes, you can learn about mambo, Latin music, the timbales, but also, yeah, the Titica rhythm, because there is a little refrain that keeps coming back on almost every page, and I just cheat and sneak it in on every page. The tum tika tak tik tum tik tom tom. So we take some time at the beginning and learn that on body percussion and go through it first on body percussion, and then we read through the story, adding it in on every page. And then another day after we've learned Titica and seen what this rhythm of tum tika tak tik tum tik tom tom would look like, we add like drumsticks and drum it on the carpet, or we could take out tubano drums. I know right now it would probably be best to stay with either drumsticks that you can easily sanitize, or stay with the body percussion. But again, great book, great bilingual book. Next is one of my all-time favorites, Avas Violin. So this is another one that I have a sub-resource for that I even recently updated with digital aspects, so that you can use this in a hybrid situation or distance learning, anything like that. And this book is the story of the Recycled Orchestra of Paraguay. It's actually the Recycled Orchestra of Cateura, the town, so interesting, by Susan Hood and illustrated by Sally Warren Comport. And there is a 60-minute special where you can, which you can find online, and it actually has a little interview with the girl Ada that they talk about in this story. This is a great, great book for talking about recycling, taking care of the earth, social, emotionally, talking about how your grown-ups will do everything they can to help you along the way, because her grandma is the one who gets her in the orchestra, and of course her orchestra teacher makes instruments out of garbage so that they can have things to play. Really great, especially if you have students like I do, who are definitely more financially blessed. It puts things in perspective for them, so that they can really appreciate what they have. If you ever are in Phoenix, I also recommend going to the MIM, which is the Musical Instrument Museum. It's huge, beautiful, amazing. I spend a whole day there, but they have a couple of the instruments from the Recycled Orchestra of Cateura there on display. They also have Tiro Puente's timbales on display there. So it is a music teacher's paradise. But anyway, in Avas Violin, you get gorgeous illustrations and a wonderful message about how if you work hard, you can overcome quite a bit. So that is Avas Violin. Sorry, I switched between Spanish and English there. Violin. Okay, this is another bilingual book, Finding the Music by Jennifer Torres, illustrated by Renato Alarcao. So this is another great book for talking about mariachi, but with the older grades. And as you might be able to see there, that's a vihuela. And so it talks about the mariachi tradition. It talks just in general about keeping family traditions alive. And just a great way of talking about the role that music plays in your own family. And there's lots of Spanish words and phrases that the kids can learn in this one. Unfortunately, something bad happens to the vihuela, and she needs to go on a search to get it fixed and learns all about her abuelo, whose vihuela it was. So very much recommend finding the music. And now for one of my newer favorites, Danza, Amalia Hernandez and El Ballet Folclórico de México. Now, I'm going to try to say this author and illustrator's last name. He's amazing, but I have a little trouble saying this one. Duncan Tonatiuh. So sorry, you're a brilliant author. So these illustrations, first of all, are gorgeous because they're kind of in that Aztec style. So it pays a little homage to that, you can see. And it's great for talking about Mexican folk dancing and ballet folklórico. So if you don't know much about ballet folklórico, I recommend looking into it. There are groups all over the United States. I have had students before who were in those groups, in like the younger group classes for those, and this is really great for just introducing ballet folklórico, and then you can watch some. If you're out of COVID times, you can even go see a group perform or have them come to you. And talks about how this woman followed her dreams and built a giant, super successful company. And that is just really cool. And the last book I want to share with you today is It's Skeleton Time. So this is another bilingual book, as you can see, and it's by Ana Galan and Rodrigo Lujan. And it is like Los Esqueletos, if you know that one. I actually have a blog post about this book, so I'm not going to go into it too much. I will link the blog post below. But it counts all the way, and there's all the different skeletons. You can find a clock on each page. The kids have fun trying to find where the different clocks are. And this is another great one for tea ticka tea. And so I'll link that below. So there you have it. That's my giant list of Latinx books for Hispanic Heritage Month. And there are other ones that I have my eye on and would really, really like. They're on my wish list. But I will link those below too, because they look like really quality. I've heard great things about them. And if you can get them, put them together on like a donor's choose or something, go for it. Again, I'd like to remind you and urge you that September 15th through October 15th is not the only time that your Latinx students should see themselves in your classroom. So of course, feel free, no matter what time of year you see this video, to pull out any of these books and use them in your classroom. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.